So the most alarming thing that no one's talking about isn't home prices, it's the dollar. Take a look at this recent social media post that just came out. The US dollar has lost nearly 30% of its purchasing power since 2020. 1/3 of your savings has been destroyed in half a decade. The silent destruction of a generation. And this has happened because trillions of dollars have been printed in just the last 5 years alone, which has completely devalued the dollar and destroyed our purchasing power, and the reason why everything has skyrocketed in price throughout all sectors of the economy, especially home prices. And nowhere is that more evident in popular cities like Las Vegas that used to be a once affordable city to buy a home in. But take a look at this right here. This is the most expensive home that just sold here in Las Vegas at a record-setting $25 million. A few years ago, no one could have ever dreamed that home prices could ever reach these kinds of limits here in Las Vegas. And coming up, I'm going to show you a few examples of Las Vegas homes for sale that's definitely going to make you shake your head in disbelief. What's going on, my YouTube friends? This is Jerry Abbott, your #1 real estate resource here in beautiful Las Vegas. Hey guys, a couple of real quick things before we dive into the video. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn the cold hard facts about the US economy, the US real estate market, and specifically the Las Vegas real estate market, then make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Number 2, if you happen to like the content in today's video, make sure to press that thumbs up like button, guys. That would really help the channel out. And number 3, if you are thinking about relocating to beautiful Las Vegas, whether it's next month or next year, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. Let's dive into the video. So take a look at this recent headline right next to me. You now need to earn 50% more income to afford a home today compared to just 5 years ago. That's how bad things have gotten. But now take a look at this recent headline. Canceled home sales surge as fed up buyers and sellers walk away. Repair disagreements and price disappointments are ending deals as housing market shifts, data shows. But what's happening right now, we're in a bit of a standoff as many sellers remain stubborn, but now many buyers are willing to walk away from transactions. But as stubborn as some of these sellers might be, a lot of them now are starting to reduce the price of their homes if they want them to sell, especially here in Las Vegas, because as you can see right next to me, we are leading the country in terms of overall inventory growth. And I want to show you a few examples of Las Vegas homes for sale coming up that reflect these strong price reductions. All right, so now I'm on the popular real estate platform Zillow, and I want to show you guys 3 specific examples of Las Vegas homes for sale, starting in the luxury category and then working down closer to the median price point, which here in Las Vegas is about $485,000. Now, the reason why I want to show you these 3 specific examples is because it doesn't matter if it's a luxury home, a mid-price home, or a lower price home. There are some sellers right now that are realizing that the market is changing. There's a lot more inventory, and now they're finally starting to reduce price, and some of them are reducing the price of their homes fairly significantly. So let's first start with this luxury home. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed for $3,490,000, but you can see just above that in that small red text right there, it says price cut $360,000 that just happened last month. So that's a $360,000 price reduction from the original price. This is a 4-bedroom, 5-bath, 3,455 square foot home, but down below, I want to show you the full price history here just to give you an idea as to where these homes were sold a few years ago compared to the prices right now. All right, so take a look down at the bottom of the screen in the blue highlight. Down at the bottom left of that highlight, the date says 12/21/2021. So we're going back almost 4 years ago where this home was sold for just $1.5 million. But take a look at that date just above it on the left yellow highlight where it says 6/14/2025. So about 3.5 years later, the sellers put this home on the market, if you can believe it, for $3,850,000. It was massively overpriced. That's why you can see the price just above it at $3,490,000, reflecting that $360,000 price cut. But more importantly, take a look here as I scroll up. You can see the Zestimate here where it says estimated market value right there on the left side of that yellow highlight. You can see Zestimate $3,264,000. So even Zillow is thinking that this home is still nearly $250,000 overpriced. But here's the bigger takeaway. When we scroll back down here, you see the blue highlight where that original buying price was $1.5 million. even if they get this price right now, the sellers, at $3,490,000, that's $2 million more than they paid for it not even 4 years ago, which just goes to show you that there's still a tremendous amount of sellers still trying to be very greedy, obviously, because every seller wants to make as much money as possible. But many of them now, again, are getting a big reality check, realizing they can't get that original list price. But even if they take a big hit on it and they drop the price $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, take a look at that original list price. They are still going to make a seven-figure profit even with these kinds of price reductions, because again, that's what's happened to home prices in just the last few years, especially here in Las Vegas. All right, so now let's take a look at this second example of another Las Vegas home for sale. Now we're definitely coming way down in price, below the luxury price point, which here in Las Vegas is right around $1 million or more. You can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed for sale for $750,000. But again, in that small red text just above it, it says price cut $49,000. That happened just a couple of weeks ago, but that's truly not the real full price reduction as you're about to see. This is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,300 square foot home. But again, I want to scroll down a little bit deeper here to show you the original price point on this home. All right, so again, take a look down at the bottom of the screen in the blue highlight. Down in the bottom left of that highlight, the date says 11/23/2021. So again, just a little bit less than 4 years ago, this home was sold for just $735,000. Now take a look at the date just above it in that left yellow highlight where it says 6/3/2024. So a little more than a year ago, after the homeowners purchased this home back in 2021, 2.5 years later, last summer, they put this home up on the market for $1 million that you can see in that yellow highlight. It was massively overpriced, nowhere near the true value point. And then as I scroll up here, you can see they started lowering it into the 900s. Then as I scroll up a little bit more, you can see the lower 900s. Then it got to the 800s. Then it got to the 700s. And then you can see right here, right in the middle of the screen where it says price change, $750,000. That's the current list price. So now this is a perfect example of a seller potentially going to take a loss on this kind of a home because they bought the home about 3.5 or so years ago at $750,000. They try to sell it for $1 million, then in the 900s, then in the 800s, and now they're all the way back down to $750,000, close to where they actually purchased the home, and they still can't find a buyer. This is a perfect example, again, of a very motivated seller who now realizes that they massively overpriced the home, and now even at $750,000, they may not even break even because many of these sellers are realizing as inventory piles up here in Las Vegas, they are not going to get anywhere near their original list price, and some of them could potentially even take a loss at this point. All right, so now let's take a look at this third and final example of another Las Vegas home for sale. Now we're coming way down in price, even below the median price point, which again, here in Las Vegas is about $485,000. So you can see on the left side of the screen, this home is currently listed at about $440,000. So this is about $45,000 under the median price point. But this one actually cracks me up a little bit because you can see just above it in that small red text, they just reduced the price of this home by $100. And I'm going to explain to you why a lot of the sellers and the agents representing these sellers are using these kind of tactics, because this goes back to what I was saying last week in my previous video, where they're using these little tactics to do lower price reductions just to refresh the listing, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. But you can see this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,100 square foot home, but let's really take a look at the full price history here just to show you the full transparency of this home. All right, so one more time, focus your attention down at the bottom of the screen in the blue highlight. Down on the bottom left side of that highlight, the date says 11/22/2024. So almost around Thanksgiving of last year, this home was originally listed for sale for $475,000. But take a look at that left yellow highlight and look at that date inside it. It says 7/11/2025. So about 8 months after they listed the home for sale around Thanksgiving of last year, they took that home off the market. You can see right there in the middle in that yellow highlight, it says listing removed at $475,000. But then look at the left yellow highlight again on the same exact date, 7/11/2025. They relisted the home for sale for a lower price at $440,000. So they reduced the price of the home $35,000 because, again, they knew they were too high at $475,000, so they dropped it $35,000. And again, when you remove a listing and you put it back on the market, it refreshes the listing, it gets more attention, more people can see it on public platforms like Zillow, and a lot more eyeballs are on it. So that's what they were hoping to do. They still couldn't find a buyer at $440,000. But again, look at the date just above that at the very top where it says 7/25/2024. 2025. So about 2 weeks later, you can see right in the middle, right there, that says price change in that yellow highlight. Now the price says $439,900. So they reduced the price $100 again to refresh the listing, to get it in front of more people. And even with that silly $100 price reduction, they still can't find a buyer. So two main takeaways here. Number one, we know that this home was not just reduced by $100. When we look down at the bottom right side of that blue highlight, the original list price on this home 8 months ago was $475,000. That's a $35,000 price reduction, not a $100 price reduction. That $100 price reduction, again, reflects the tactics that these listing agents and sellers are using now to try to refresh the listing to get in front of more people. But the bigger takeaway is when selling agents and of course the sellers are using these kind of tactics to sell the home, it just shows you that they're getting desperate and they're reducing the price and using these kind of underhanded tactics because they know they're not getting that original list price. So if you're a buyer, these are the kinds of listings you want to look at because you know the seller is motivated when they resort to these tactics. Now here's the thing, we're finally starting to see some price cuts happen here in Las Vegas. And again, that's mostly due to the fact that many homeowners here are still massively overpricing their homes. But don't be fooled by this, because these price reductions barely make a dent when you factor in the last 5 years of relentless inflation that we've had. And in fact, to further prove that point, I want to show you 3 of my favorite comments from last week's video that show you just how this relentless inflation over the short term, midterm, and long term has absolutely skyrocketed home prices. So take a look at the top comment first. I purchased my home 30 years ago at $120,000. Now it's worth $780,000 in California, and we have no plans on moving. The next one below that, I own my home now after 16 years. I bought for 80 grand and now it's worth $420,000. And the bottom one says, exactly, our home has doubled since buying in November 2019, but we're not moving just to lose our 2.9%. So those 3 home examples perfectly illustrate the short-term, the midterm, and the long-term appreciation factor when you own a home. It just goes to show you, again, just like everything else in the economy, over time, because of inflation, prices continue to go higher. And just to prove this point in a silly way, take a look at this bag of chips that I just bought. You probably recognize the brand. Back in 2020, about 5 years ago, I used to purchase this bag of chips for $3. I just purchased it in the grocery store for $6.50. That's over a 100% price appreciation on something as small as a bag of chips because, again, inflation is destroying the economy because of the constant printing of money and the devaluing of the dollar. Now, I want to hear from you guys. I want you to drop me a comment down below. I read and respond to all of my comments. I want to go back about 5 years ago to just before the pandemic to right now, the current time period. And I want to know, are you paying for anything right now today that's less money than it was 5 years ago? Because I can't seem to find anything like that. It doesn't matter if it's home prices, a bag of chips, concert tickets. I want to know if you can figure out anything that's less money today than it was 5 years ago. Give me an example of that. And my favorite comment from this week's video, I'm going to give a direct on-screen shout out to in next week's video. Now, just to close out the video, let's tie this back more specifically to the housing market. If you're thinking about buying a home, I want you to factor in 3 specific things before you actually put in an offer on a home, whether it's here in Las Vegas or anywhere in the country. Number 1, how many days on the market has it been listed for? Because if it's been on the market for 30 days or more, that listing is getting stale and you're likely going to find a more motivated seller and you might get a better deal. Number 2, has it already been reduced in price? That's also a big factor. And number 3, has the home gone on the market, then been taken off the market, and then again relisted again, like I showed earlier in the video? So those 3 things are very important factors when it comes to deciding what kind of an offer to make on a home. Now, in certain parts of the country where inventory is still low and homes have not been reduced in price and they've not been on the market for any real length of time, you're likely not going to find a better deal in those parts of the country. But in other areas of the country, like here in Las Vegas, where inventory is piling up, we're seeing more price reductions. We're seeing more time on the market. So there's more vulnerability right now on the seller's part. So as a buyer, you have a little bit more leverage. Every part of the country is different right now. Now, if you're thinking about buying a home, especially here in the Las Vegas real estate market, I've got your back. I'm a local real estate agent here. I've lived here for 20 years. I know every inch of this city. When that time is right for you, definitely reach out to me. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. I'll see you in the next video.